What is up? Good morning. World Hockey Report live coming to you on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV channel 761. Cody Jansen with you here hanging out. It is June 24th. Beautiful Wednesday up here in the Great White North. Big show to get to. Plenty of guests as always. We're going to start it off. Adam Ermantrout to talk some Hockey Hall of Fame. Then at 9:20, the man behind the morning skate. We got Big Ked coming on. Talk some Rags. 9:40, it's going to be Roman Vopat on the show. Former NHLer there. Man, just, another guy who grinded it out. Some coaching later on as well. That's a good one coming up around 9:40. First off, though, hey, we got to get to it. Got to tell you about it. 12 Ounce Sports, your home for the best live talk shows and sports broadcasts. You can catch World Hockey Report there all the time. All the other shows, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, but now also on Zingo TV. Zingo's added 12 Ounce Sports to their long list of channels, and now if you're on your smart TV, just download the app, flip to channel 761, catch all of our live 12 Ounce Sports programming, plus all replays. All you got to do, download Zingo TV, use the promo code 12 Ounce Sports. That's 12 OZ, 12OZ when signing up. That's simple. Be sure to check out the latest blogs and podcasts as well up on 12OZSportsRadio.com. That easy. Just like that. Hey, we're going to start off the show and bring on our good friend, as always. Adam Ermantrout joins us from the great province of Saskatchewan. Buddy, how's it going?
Not bad, man. How are you doing?
Doing good. Really can't complain. It's actually looking decent out there. Going to make the trip out to Jasper later today. Get some golf in. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. But first, we got to talk some hockey. Always excited about that. There's, it kind of feels like we're getting a little bit closer. I know we took a step back last week with the COVID cases. But I don't know. We still got time. I think it was kind of a wake-up call for the NHL. I wanted to ask you something, though, because we never really got into it. What's your thoughts on the media members naming players with COVID cases? I mean, is this something where you think that shouldn't be touched? Or you think, well, they're high-profile athletes, borderline celebrities. You kind of... You don't run your right of privacy once you hit that stage, but there comes a certain point in time where it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if it needs to be talked about, like if it was from a Leafs perspective, if it's Austin Matthews or Freddie Gauthier getting COVID, like it's still an NHL player getting COVID or whatever, and all that. Like the only reason that I think from Matthew's standpoint, if he actually does have it, which they'll say he does, it'd only be like him telling all the people that he was in contact with and telling the Leafs. Like, I don't think it matters to the world or to media how he handles it, but like nobody really needs to know. It's not like we can help him or anything. It's just more so something for people to talk about and guys at TSN Sportsnet to write about and all that.
I mean, it's a little bit of the media's job, and I understand that hey, like, Steve Simmons, who's been irrelevant for how long, all of a sudden, he's back in the media. I mean, that's all he wants. He doesn't care if it's good attention or bad attention, but he got what he wanted by naming Austin Matthews and breaking that story. And so, I don't know. I see both sides of the story. I mean, as a player's perspective, I'm sure you're not happy with your medical, records getting out there, however they do. But you're not going to stop it.
No, like it doesn't really matter because it's like, oh, Austin Matthews has COVID. Okay, let's talk about it for a day. But like, it doesn't really change anything from his standpoint.
It's in the rearview mirror now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Hockey Hall of Fame, that's coming up. Those are going to be announced today. Now, obviously, Iggy, it's his first time able to get in. He's getting in. There's no doubt about it. I'm pretty confident, guys. McGillney, Alfredson, Jennifer Botterill, Kim St. Pierre. Is there, someone else maybe on that list or, someone who's been passed over that you think isn't getting the attention or is underappreciated and should be put in the Hockey Hall of Fame? Because there's a few guys on my list who I think, maybe didn't get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, I think like we were talking about this before we went on here with like Theo Fleury or Jeremy Roenick. Like both of them, were great players in their time, and Theo Fleury and again, like going in at the same time would be pretty cool. But like, is that too much Calgary stuff? And then Jeremy Roenick, I guess his might be more of an off-ice issue, just given what happened this year with his NBC firing and all that. So those are probably the two guys that would stick out that should get in, I think.
I'm going to throw a couple more names at you, and I want you just to give me a quick yes or no rapid-fire answers. Rod Brind'Amour.
No.
Marian Hossa.
Yeah.
Curtis Joseph.
I'm going to say no.
Glenn Anderson.
No.
6 Stanley Cups?
Yeah, well, like...
You're
we could have 6 Stanley Cups on those teams.
No. You can sneak by with 1 Stanley Cup and be a mediocre player still. We're talking 6 Stanley Cups. There's no way.
Taylor Hall story. He goes, he said Glenn Anderson was just being a jerk in the bar, and he's like, oh, congrats on the OT winner. Now you're just this many more behind me in Oilers history. And Taylor Hall goes, congrats on scoring like the third goal in like a 9-2 game 45 times or whatever.
That's funny. No, I don't know. Like when you see that off, you're like, that's a shock, man. It is. I'm pretty sure it's 6. So that's.
What would your answers be? Like for Brind'Amour and stuff and Cujo.
Oh man, see, Cujo's got a soft spot in my heart because I think he's so good, and like reading his book, his story's crazy. So like that pulls on me when saying yes. Brind'Amour, borderline. Honestly, I think Roenick's a borderline one. I don't know if he gets in, but like I don't know. Like it's not like they're mediocre players, but aren't they kind of mediocre superstars? Like the Hall of Fame, they've got so many players in there. It's tough. Like a guy like Hossa. I mean, I'm taking a guy like Theo Fleury over Alfredson any day of the week. Same with Hossa. Yeah. Like I just think Theo Fleury, what he's done for the game, what he did for the game, that's Hall of Fame material, if you ask me, any day of the week. Then, I mean, on the female side of things, Kim St. Pierre was incredible for Canada. I mean, we grew up watching the Canadian Olympic teams like 2002, 2006, man. Like, she was unbelievable. Like, there's no question she was the best female goaltender in the world and might be one of the best female goaltenders of all time. Like, that's how good she was.
Yeah, and just to go back quickly on the... Like, they had good careers, but, like, is it a Hall of Fame career? No. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because somebody gets passed over a couple times for the Hall of Fame doesn't mean they should get in year 5 or 6 just because they waited a long time. Like their careers didn't change in those 3 or 4 years they didn't get in, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's totally fair. As well, Jennifer Botterill, I think I did mention her, but just in case, like, she's definitely... one that needs to go in from the women's side of things. Like, she was just a trailblazer of the game. Interesting point, though, this morning made by Mike McKenna, and I want to get your thoughts on this. This would be in the builders category. I believe Viktor Tikhonov is like one of the eligible ones this year, and so he'll likely get in. I mean, say what you want about the Russian regime. Like, he was pretty good for the hockey world for just in general what he helped create. Mike McKenna said goalie coaches don't get the recognition they deserve. And he brought up 2. He brought up Mitch Korn and Francois Allaire. What would you, would you be offended if they put in a goalie coach? Because I honestly, like, if you look at goaltending from 20 years ago, how it's changed to today, they might have made the biggest difference in the game. Like, I'm not to say, like, oh, well, like, slap shots, wrist shots haven't changed as much, but goaltending's taken a 360.
Yeah, I think the thing is, they're only coaching, 2 guys per team, and, right, they only really have a say on the one guy, and, maybe if you're going to say goalie coaches should go in, maybe, a guy like Darryl Belfast should go in for training Sidney Crosby and Patrick Kane all these years to the players that they've become. And there's like a long list, because then if goalie coaches get in, then like a guy who like runs a good power play should get in, then a skating coach should get in.
But that's like, totally different. That's totally different because goaltending has evolved way more than a power play, a penalty kill, skating, any of that. Like, I mean, you're not shooting on Arturs Irbe anymore. You know, every single goalie in the NHL has drastically improved over the past 20, 30 years. Way more than any other position in the game.
But, like, why would you just honor, like, one coach, though? Like, Mitch Corner in Washington, and it's like, oh, okay, he had Braden Holtby, and before he got there, Holtby was still .915, so it's not like he did Hall of Fame coaching material work with him. Like, he obviously did very good work, but it kind of depends, right? Like, nobody's going to Edmonton and going to the Hall of Fame just because of the goalies they get.
No, like, I mean, there's valid arguments. I just think that McKenna made a good point. I think that they do deserve a little bit more respect, and I think that if they were at least considered, I think that they'd probably have a good shot of getting in, just the way that they have changed the game in general. My opinion, at least. Alrighty, we got a couple more things to get to. Adam Ermintrout on the line now. We'll talk your report. Who's the better number 13, Matt Sundin or Pavel Datsyuk? Because that was the hottest debate on Twitter over the past 48 hours.
Datsyuk. I think, like, Sundin was very good and probably a better goal scorer, and I only say probably because, like a part of me, and I think a part of a lot of people think that Datsyuk could have been a goal scorer if he wanted to, right? And, like, Sundin was, like, your big 6'5", like, park your ass wherever in front of the net, like, score however you wanted, and Datsyuk was just like, I'll do whatever I want with my stick to you. I'll play on both sides of the puck, and, like, I'll still get, like, 97 points a year when realistically he could have got 120, 130 points, but he was winning Selkies and Lady Bings and all that, so I don't know. I just think, like, Datsyuk could hit a different level that Sundin just couldn't.
I don't have the stats on the top of my head here written down or anything. Didn't Sundin, like, have, like, 400 more points, though, played a bunch more games? Like, I mean, if we're talking number 13 in the NHL, like, for NHL careers, I think Sundin probably had the better career. Better player, you make a valid argument. I think Datsyuk was a much better two-way player than Sundin. But I think if you reverse the roles, I don't think Datsyuk has the success that Sundin has on the Leafs. And I think that Sundin has the same, if not more, success on the wings than Datsyuk did. My opinion.
Yeah, Sundin played, like, a lot more games. And, like, both of them, like, Sundin was, like, 3 off a point per game, and Datsyuk was, like, 40 off. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just think, like, that Datsyuk was, like, just, like, the better player.
Fair. No, that's I mean, I honestly, if I gotta choose one, I'm taking Datsyuk. But, like, it's also, I'd love to see them in reversed roles. I'd love to, like, they played in a little bit of a different era too. So
kind of, like, at the prime of their careers, people would say, like, Datsyuk was, like, a top 3 player a couple of years. Like, I don't know if you could really say that about Sundin ever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So we'll talk your report coming to you on Zingo TV, channel 761. Cody Jansen, Adam Ermintrout with you here. Let's wrap up by talking about that Edmonton NHL promo video that Jason Kenney released. Because, come on, 4 seconds of that was actually in Edmonton. And I get it. They're like, oh, well, it was for families. Like, you know, it kind of got misconstrued or whatever they want to say. Like, Adam, you've been to Edmonton before. Walking to Rogers Place, how much different does it look than Jasper?
Yeah, I don't know. And, like, the thing about that video is, too, they're all like, oh, like, come explore the mountains and the lakes. Like, if you go to, like, Vancouver could literally post a video anywhere in BC, and it could almost be, like, just as nice. Like, not taking anything away from Jasper, but, like, why are they, like, oh, like, look at the mountains and the water we have. Like, doesn't Vancouver has the ocean right there. Like, they could post the same video, and that's who you're kind of up against, right? Like, it was, I I can kind of see what he was doing, but at the same time, like, how many families are just going to drive 3 hours one day, like, especially during COVID when they're in a bubble right now, you know?
How many players are voting on, I don't even know if the players are even voting on the hub cities, but how many of them are taking into consideration, oh, I wonder what my family can do while I'm playing hockey? Like, I just don't think that's on their mind at all.
Like, you're worried about winning the Stanley Cup. Like, your wife and kids can figure out what they're going to do all day.
Yeah, you're not like, what's my 1-year-old son gonna like more, the Jasper ice fields or a nice trip to the ocean or golfing in Vegas? Like, no kids are gonna care about that. And like the wives, like if that's a factor in where the hub city is, I just feel like the NHL just didn't do their job there.
And I'd really like to know how many families are going, because like realistically, like, the guys could only be gone for like 6 weeks or whatever, and let's say like they make it to the conference and Stanley Cup final, like, how often are you seeing them during those 6 weeks anyways, right? Like, I just don't think that the family thing is like as big of an issue as some people think.
I'd agree with that. Alrighty, Adam Urban-Trout, buddy. Appreciate you coming on the show as always. Back here next week, I'm sure, with a lot more to talk about as we inch closer. Oh, never mind. Next Wednesday's Canada Day. Not going to happen on Canada Day. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
All right, see you, man.
Adam Urban-Trout, always great insight right there. Pride of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Hockey Hall of Fame. Hey, hit us up on Twitter. What do you think? We put our question out there. Let us know. We're at World Hockey RPT on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. World Hockey Report. This show coming to you live on 12 Ounce Sports, Zingo TV, channel 761. Go check us out anytime. Like, share, retweet. Podcast comes up after the show. Back after the break. The morning skate's finest. Ked coming up. Talk some Rangers. This is World Hockey Report coming to you live on 12 Ounce Sports. It's World Hockey Report live, coming to you on 12-ounce sports. What is up? Cody Jansen here, 9:23 local time, June 24th, out in the Great White North. No, it's going to be a good one here. You know what? One of our guests haven't, we've connected for a while, and I feel like he's one of the OGs, and so it's a pleasure of mine to have Ket on. Of course, this interview going to be brought to you by Witt's Nutrition and Performance. This is a big one because you know what? Everyone's been quarantined, tucked away, and really, the best have risen. The morning skate just continues to get better, just like Witt's Nutrition and Performance will do for you. Your physical fitness is huge. They've got the best quarantine workout plans, meal nutrition plans, everything you need to get in shape when you're stuck inside. WNP, Witt's Nutrition and Performance. Go reach out to Curtis and his team today. WNP will hook you up. Now, welcoming to the show, the beauty, you know what? The man behind Morning Skate. Well, one half of it at least. Ken, the big Rags fan. What's up, buddy? How's it going?
What an intro. Let me tell you what, I got to take some notes on that live battery. It takes me about 20 times even to figure something out. I'm starting to write down. So kudos to you. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm pumped to talk some hockey. Here we go.
Oh man, it's long overdue. I think that's what you said before. It totally is. Because I'll get your backstory a little bit too, but I feel like, we're kind of some of the OGs in this. Like we were the hockey Twitter before hockey Twitter. Like, the joke now, everyone's got a podcast. Well, man, I feel like 3-4 years ago when we both kind of started in that same time, we were the guys. And so it's funny enough. That we've been rocking for so long. But hey, give the World Hockey Report listeners a little bit of background on you, the morning skate, and what you guys are all doing over there.
Yeah, so, again, thanks for the kind words. About 3-4 years ago, all my best friends pretty much moved away. It might have been a me problem. They were probably just trying to get away from me. But I had one move to San Diego, one move to Maine. One kid stayed locally. So, what we would do is to hang out, everybody could grab a 12-pack and we'd put on a hockey game and we'd watch it, and we'd be on Skype or Google Hangouts and we'd talk about it, and we'd just get buckled. And then one day we started kind of recording what we were doing. I sent to a couple junior kids. They said it was really good to keep it up, so we started doing that, which led to a website. And then 4 years later, man, it's cool because I have my normal 9-to-5 job, but I do this all the time, and it's not even working. You're just always involved in hockey. It's the best.
Oh, man, it's unreal. Anyone who listens to your show, go check it out, The Morning Skate. Pretty much anywhere you guys can get podcasts, I'm pretty sure. I know I get it off of Apple Podcasts, iTunes. But hey, that's just me. Just another simpleton with an iPhone. But no, man, you've obviously had some unreal guests and stuff. Is there any one episode that you're hey, if you haven't listened to The Morning Skate before, you got to check out this episode?
Oh, man, that's hard. We just dropped the Brandon Yip episode today. That one's pretty cool. Darren McCarty was awesome. Casey Bellamy won gold. Joey Mullen, first American scored 500 goals, Hall of Famer. We've had pretty good success, and honestly, I think what it is just being consistent and then just reaching out to these people, because every single person we've talked to, they're all the same people. They're all good hockey people. They love talking the game. They love talking about their careers, how to expand the game, and I don't know. It's been a wild ride. If you would have told me I'd be talking to Darren McCarty 4 years ago, I'd be you're out of your mind. And I don't know. It's been fun. It's been a good ride.
No kidding, especially, hey, you've done your time. You've worked around minor league teams and stuff like that too, so just making those connections obviously helps. We feel that here. Morning Skate Ket on the line right now. It's World Hockey Report live, coming to you on 12-ounce sports. Hey, this interview is brought to you by 69 Degree Golf, the best wedges in the game. It's going to change your golf bag, change everything about it. 69 Degree Golf, get it up. Ket, man, hey, the Regs get into playoffs. That's unbelievable. Who would have thought at the start of the year that they would be where they're at right now? And they've got a chance in this play-in series. I like it. Give me your breakdown on it, because my prediction personally is I think they can pull off the upset.
I mean, absolutely. This entire season has been an absolute roller coaster. Like, there's so many ebbs and flows, so high, so low. I mean, we got that new young goalie, Igor Shesterkin, who looks like he's going to be an all-star. And here's the thing, like, Mika Zibanejad, people don't really talk about that guy, but what a player. 200-foot center, skates like the wind, has an unreal shot, playmaker. You have Panarin, who I think for the first time the Rangers signed a free agent that's actually panned out, so that's been kind of weird. Chris Kreider just got signed, and he broke his foot almost like the day after he signed the deal. So as all these things were happening, and like we're kind of going down to the end of the year, then Corona happens, right? And I think at that point we were 3 points out of the playoffs, but like the boys were buzzing. We had just played Colorado, and I think we lost in overtime. The fact that we were in that game was awesome. And then now, I mean, everybody says it. You get in the playoffs, everybody's got a good chance, right? So we're playing Carolina, who's probably, other than the Islanders and the Devils, my most hated team. I hate that shit that they do at the end of the games. Call me an old guy screaming at the clouds. I don't care. But I don't know. And it seems like the Rangers have had their number for years. So, yeah, I mean, I'm putting money on the Rangers for sure to beat Carolina. I don't know about the Cup, but I definitely see us getting through at least the first round.
I totally agree. I like the Rangers over the Hurricanes all day long. And especially, rookie goaltender, young goaltender. It's proven well. It's worked. I mean, look at Matt Murray, Jordan Binnington, the list goes on and on. I really like Carter Hart, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so high on the Flyers, because I think he could go on a run.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, breaking down the playoffs in general, who's your favorites? Like, who are you thinking is coming out of the East and the West?
You know what, man? It's hard. It's hard to kind of get into the Western Conference mix. I don't really watch too much Western Conference games. Every once in a while, if it's like 10 o'clock, I'll throw on NHL Center Ice and stuff like that. But out of the East, the two teams that if I had to play, I would be scared to death to play, obviously the Boston Bruins. I mean, Hal, who's my co-host on the show, we were talking at the beginning of the year, and as the year went on, yeah, they lost last year, but he said it was almost like they just kept doing exactly what they did last year. Like, there really wasn't that much change, and for probably the first time in a really long time, they're going to be going into the playoffs with a decently healthy team. It seemed like over the last few years, they lose like 2 or 3 defensemen as the season's wrapping up, and they have like a 5 or 6 defensemen who probably spent most of the year in the AHL. So I think that'll be good for the Bees. And then you nailed it with the Flyers, man. I would be scared to death to play that team. You look at teams that win the Cup, I mean, from the top down, that team's stacked. And they have that little bit of edge, that little bit of cockiness and swagger with players like Konechny. And I don't know. It's hard to beat that team. When you have Couturier, Kevin Hayes, Claude Giroux, I mean, that's a wagon of a team. And again, all a team needs to do is catch just a little bit of something. And if the Flyers catch that, watch out.
They've got a lot of, I mean, you kind of hit it with swagger. I just feel like it's like a really close-knit group. And that's the most dangerous part. So, hey, I don't know if you've done a bracket or anything, but come on, you got to give us a Stanley Cup winner here.
Oh, boy. If the Flyers catch that little bit of oomph, I'm going to pick the Flyers, and if they don't, I got to pick the Bruins. I mean, it's hard to pick against that Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand line. And then you have McAvoy and you have Chara on the back end, who, I mean, the guy's like 80 years old and he's still playing. It's insane. Those would be my teams out of there. And then out of the West, like, I really want to like Avalanche, but I feel you have Makar back there, but if one of those pop-moving defensemen get hurt, then what? And then you've seen it throughout the course of the year when Rantanen or McKinnon or Landeskog goes down, like, it kind of jumbles their lines quite a bit. I like the fact that they picked up Kadri. I love Kadri. But again, he's kind of a wild card in the playoffs. You don't really know what's going to go on with him. He just got suspended last year, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a crapshoot. And then, honestly, I mean, Vegas is always kind of a scary team too. I don't know why, they just are. So, but Flyers or Bruins, that'd be my thing. If I had to pick one, Bruins. But I feel like that's kind of a safe bet.
Okay, I got a weird question for you because New York, like I don't exactly, or just out east in general. I'm not totally in on the whole hockey scene out there, but like, does it matter for you guys where the hub cities are for watching? Because I mean, I work up here in Edmonton at a radio station. Obviously, I mean, broadcast Northers games, things like that. Like, but it's every single day we're talking about it. Something about that. Where's the hub city? Maybe it is because it could be in Edmonton, but like, does it matter to a regular hockey fan or, someone like you? Like, do you actually like care or, give a shit where they're going to be playing the games in? Because these are going to be empty rinks here. Like, no one's actually going to the games, but like, fans' perspective, media perspective, like, do you really care?
I think because I'm a Rangers fan, like, I can't. Like, obviously, these games aren't going to be in New York. I don't think that we're going to see stands for, like, a long time. The only thing that I have is if both hub cities are on the West Coast, right? Does that mean that I'm going to be watching playoff hockey at, like, 10 o'clock at night? Or are they just going to start those earlier, where it'd be, like, 7 o'clock here, and then what would it be there, like, 4 o'clock there? So I'm not entirely sure. It's not a huge deal to me. My only thing is don't put it in a city that a team's playing in. Like, you look at all these other teams that, like, aren't in the playoffs. Why not make one of those a hub city? I would have thought Buffalo would have been a great hub city, but they forgot to take the forwards out. Classic. I mean, it could go either way for me. I'm not really too invested in it, I guess.
That's fair. No, and I do agree. I think having two in the Pacific time zone's a little bit stupid. But, I mean, you can obviously schedule your games so that they work out better in the Eastern time zone for you guys watching on TV and stuff. So I think there's a way around it. But I really think that it's probably going to be Toronto and Vegas, maybe Toronto, Vancouver. Something like that's probably the likely option. Alrighty. Ken, I know you haven't been out to Calgary or Edmonton, but we're up here. It's the Battle of Alberta. Both teams are in the playoffs. I'm not going to ask you what's the better city, but who's going to go further, the Oilers or the Flames?
I mean, that's a great question, man. It's hard to bet against Draisaitl and McDavid, right? Like, they're so good. I've never been out to the West Coast. Actually, Calgary's on my bucket list. I want to hit up that Stampede that they have every year with the country music and the road.
Unreal.
That would be ideal for me. But, I mean, you look at the past playoffs and stuff like that. Like, has Calgary really ever been, like, a legitimate contender? And the answer, I don't think up until now, no. Like, I don't know if they've ever had the goaltending. We've had Jordy from Ultimate Hockey Fan Cave who talked about Big Save Dave and what he does. And I guess I bought in a little bit. But, again, like, McDavid, especially in the playoffs and everything's kind of, like, really locked down and stuff, McDavid and Draisaitl have the ability to just take over games, and that would scare me. So I'm going to go with Edmonton. I hope Edmonton wheels it out a little bit. However, Calgary, the new jerseys that they just came out with or whatever, that's probably my favorite jersey in the NHL.
Hot take there. Write it down. Morning Skate Ked hates Calgary. Hates the Flames. We'll chalk that one down. Buddy, hey, I appreciate you taking the time, man. Appreciate it, and we're definitely going to have to connect soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. Ked from Morning Skate. Go check them out. Their podcast out there as well. Wherever you're getting your podcast, follow them on Twitter. I believe they're just at Morning Skate. Ked's up there at Morning Skate Ked. Go hit him up. Give him a follow. Great guy. Great hockey insight right there. Alrighty, we got to hit a commercial break. When we come back, Roman Vopak, former NHLer, hops on the show. It's World Hockey Report live coming to you on 12 Ounce Sports. It's World Hockey Report Live with you on 12 Ounce Sports. How's it going? We're also on Zingo TV channel 761. Having a little video issues today, so we do apologize about that. You got the generic graphic up there. We will get it fixed for the next show. Next week, it's Canada Day. Not going to have a show on Canada Day. We respect that up here in the Great White North. We're going to be back July 8th. Big stuff planned, as always. Maybe we'll have a special show on Canada Day. Let's not mark it out yet, but hey, stay tuned for that. As you can see on the screen, our next guest, Roman Vopat. Before we get to that, I've got to tell you about MyBookie. I got to tell you guys, MyBookie.ag, it's the absolute best. Sports are coming back. Yes, they are. Thank goodness. And if you want to get on the action, MyBookie.ag is the place to be. They're going to match your deposit up to $1,000 when you use promo code 12OZSports. That's 12OZSports when signing up on MyBookie.ag. You don't want to miss your chance to cash that ticket during the NHL, NBA playoffs. Hey, that stupid MLB's even back. I seen those crybabies finally came to an agreement. Don't want to miss this one. Hey, you're going to cash those tickets with help from your friends over at 12 Ounce Sports, the best gambling advice out there. Yes, I said it. It's the absolute best, and I'm telling you, they are going to change the way you cash those tickets. Hey, use promo code 12OZSports, all caps, no spaces, when signing up on MyBookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie.ag, promo code 12OZSports to get your deposit matched up to $1,000. $1,000 free. Just use promo code 12OZ when making that deposit. Alrighty, we got to bring him on now. Join now. He's drafted by the St. Louis Blues back in 1994. Played in the Western League as well. Spent some time out in the Great Prairies. Moose Jaw, Prince Albert. Hey, spent some time in the NHL as well with the St. Louis Blues, LA Kings, Philadelphia Flyers, and the Chicago Blackhawks. Roman Vopat joins us now from the beautiful province of British Columbia. Buddy, how is it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Can't complain. I mean, quarantine, kind of getting sick of it, but at least, we'll be able to go back into rinks soon enough.
Well, I've been very fortunate through this 2.5 or whatever, how long this is. I've been working pretty much every day. Our job, my job is essential to the city of Cranbrook where I live. And I got a little small gym too down in the basement, so I kind of stay active. I'm the type of guy who needs to stay active because then I would go stir crazy and just do some stupid stuff.
Are you a big golfer? Is there some nice golf courses around there?
I fucking hate the game. I live on a golf course, but I absolutely hate the game.
Wow.
Everybody was asking me, so why you bought a house on a golf course? It's because it's quiet and peaceful. And I sit every morning on my deck and having a coffee on the 18th hole, and I don't hear anybody until probably 10 o'clock or something like that. But I used to play a lot, but for some reason I can't swing. No way.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a love or a hate game, that's for sure. And I think, being a hockey player, like, I can't imagine you're terrible at it. Like, it's still a similar motion.
I am. Oh, no, I am.
Okay, we got to dive into your hockey career because, funny enough, you're over in Czech Republic and you end up in small town Saskatchewan playing in the Western League. Back in the 90s as well, like, what was that like? How did you even get over, essentially?
Well, with my style of game, I got in a lot of trouble with the refs and with the leagues, and and my dad was my coach, and he says, you like the physical style of game. Why don't we contact certain people and see if you can get overseas? So we contact Michael Barnett and Yuri Serha, who represent Michael Barnett in Czech, and they put me into a European draft into Western Hockey League, and I got drafted by Moose Jaw, and pretty much the rest is history.
What was your first thoughts when you saw Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan? Because, I know there's some, not really hick towns in Czech Republic, but there's some pretty small ones. But Moose Jaw is, one of a kind.
Well, I grew up in a small town. Like, we have a big refinery there, and that's about it. That's where 75% of my hometown was deployed. So I grew up in a small town. So when I came to Moose Jaw, I thought really nothing until the winter. Holy fuck! When it gets cold in the winter, -40 wind chill, I go, wow, this is gonna be a long year. And you know what? But I had such a good teammates. They transitioned. They made it so easy for me, and I appreciate that from the boys.
That's hilarious. Definitely. Did you get drafted out of the Dub or when you were playing overseas in Litvinov?
I got drafted from playing overseas in Czech.
Okay.
Yeah, I played for the national team 16, 17, 18, and when we played the European Championship in Finland, Jyväskylä, I was talking to a few scouts and blah blah, and then there was a chance I might get drafted. But so if I could turn it back, I would probably go play the Western Hockey League maybe a year, 2 years earlier when I was 16, 17. But I have no regrets. I went when I was 18, but I was already drafted by St. Louis.
What was your welcome to the NHL moment? Like, you were drafted by St. Louis, and that's where you got your first games. And what was kind of the moment when you were like, holy shit, I'm actually in the NHL?
Well, when I went to St. Louis and Mike Keenan was the coach, he sat me down with Peter Stastny, who was a legend in the National Hockey League and in the St. Louis. And he told Peter, just tell me, just if he wants to make the National Hockey League, do what I want. So when Peter Stastny says, okay, he wants you to do what he wants you to do, and if you do it, you might play in the National Hockey League. So he put me with him, and I think I was playing with Ian Laperriere too on the right wing. And literally, thanks to Peter, I made a starting roster in September, and a dream come true. But I gotta say, it was because Peter Stastny, pretty much.
And you were a pretty hard-nosed player too. So did Keen respect you for that, or like what was your relationship with Mike?
Well, I was young. I did, he didn't really talk to the young guys, but I thought my relationship with him was okay. It was good. I never knew better coaches or different coaches than he was. I like, if you would have a coach from communism and Mike Keenan's a god compared to the guys in what I grew up with. So, on the other hand, I have Mike Keenan, and he says, we don't need you to fight. You play hard as you can. We got Tony Twist to fight and other people to do it. So you play hard, you do what I ask you to do, and you'll be okay. And I was trying to do that, the 25 games I was up. So, play 25 games as a 19-year-old in National Hockey League, being drafted 7th round. It was, overwhelming.
And then the following year, you get traded to LA?
Well, what happened is I got sent down in late January to Moose Jaw, and then when I was in Moose Jaw, I was actually already in PA, so I got traded from Moose Jaw to Prince Albert with Curtis Brown, and because PA was going for it to try to win the whole thing. So we got traded to PA, and then I got a phone call from Sam McMaster in LA that LA just acquired me from St. Louis, and I hung up on him because I thought it was Curtis Brown, big dog up. So I hung up on him, and then 5 minutes later, I got a phone call from Sam McMaster again. So I got traded. That was a famous trade from St. Louis to LA. And
you played with your brother in LA, correct? He also played there?
I did, yes. My brother, yes. He.
What was that like?
Traded, it was good, but he was more. He was a better player. He was a defenseman, so he was more in the lineup than I was. So we really didn't see each other that much on ice, right? Because I was in and out of the lineup. He was more steady. So, but it was definitely, like I said, make the NHL was a dream come true, and now I'm playing on the same team with my brother. So it was definitely something that I'm very proud of, and so parents.
Oh, it's unreal. And I mean, you go through that roster too, and there's some pretty, cool, impressive names. I mean, I'm sure, you being a Czech, just having Peter Klima on the team as well, like that's a pretty cool thing if you got to play for him for his little stint that season. But, you've got guys like Ray Ferraro, you got Ed Olczyk, you got Rob Blake. Like, who were the jokers in that room? Who were the guys that really made it something special? Because I bet you that must have been a pretty fun group looking at the names.
Well, it was definitely a fun group. I think who was the most, I think it was Gary Galley and Ray Ferraro. And I got to say, that's why Ray's got the job he does. He's very good on TV because he never shut up. At the moment he walked into the dressing room, he started talking, and he seriously wouldn't stop until he left the room. So, and he was like that on the bench too. He was chirping all the time. And Gary Galley was the same. Him and Razor, they went back and forth all the time, and and then you had Blakey, and then you had Doug Smolik he was funny, and we had some definitely characters on that team.
You also made stops in Philly and Chicago. Where was your favorite place to play? I mean, whether that's or where was your favorite place that you played in your career? Plus, like, what was your favorite rank in the NHL?
I gotta say Philly. I still love Philly. I still follow them. I think the Philly was the team that suits my style the best. And just, the fans, they were incredible. Like when you got a hit and you hear the whole 19,000 fans just go absolutely bananas. They could be ruthless too, if you start losing. And, but when you were winning and then you, entertain the fans, they were absolutely fantastic. So I gotta say the Philly and the ring too in Philly for sure.
I jumped over when we talked about St. Louis. What was your first, or like walk me through your first NHL goal? How was it? Was it a greasy one or what?
Well, it was in San Jose. We were playing. I think we were up 1-0, and I got a pass. You know what? And that's the thing. I don't recall who passed me the puck. But I know it was all McInnes was giving me the high five, the first guy. So I got a pass from the corner into the high slot, and I just closed my eyes and rip at 5-hole on Artur Zirbe. And so we were up 2-0, but we got shit bag after that, 7-2. So I don't remember that goal forever, but I definitely remember that spanking 7-2 at the end too.
I don't know if there was a goalie with worse style than Artur Zirbe. He was something else.
He was something else. Plus the helmet he had.
Latvians.
He was definitely something else. Yeah.
Different breed over there in Latvia. Hey, after you played some time in North America, you go to Finland, but then you go back to the Czech Republic and you play for Sparta, which, I mean, for those of you who don't follow European hockey, Sparta's massive. It's a huge deal. And so you being a Czech who's played in the NHL, did they just back up the Brinks truck for you or what? What was that like?
Well, it was, like I said, Sparta Prague in Czech, it's like, I would say Real Madrid in soccer in Spain, or they just spend a huge amount of money because their philosophy is, well, let's buy the best players and let's win the championship. Well, that's not always the case. So me growing up in Litvinov and play for Sparta, it's like, again, Real Madrid, and then you go to Barcelona in soccer. So when we played the first game back home, my hometown, and I played for Sparta, I wasn't liked at all. Like, I got booed, I got screamed at and all that. But, and again, when you're a hockey player, you go where the money is. And, they offered me the money that I wasn't able to turn down, and that's why I end up there.
Did you get to play the Spangler Cup at all when you were in Finland?
I did with the Helsinki team. We played the Spangler Cup.
What was that like?
It was the best experience, I would say, in pretty much my whole career. It was something that I cherish, and I recommend that to anybody who ever gets the offer to go, because when you see the whole stadium cheering from opening face-off to the final whistle, and they don't care who's playing. They just sings and cheer, and it's just atmosphere, that's what hockey all about, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Who was the best player you think you ever played with or against? Like, who was a guy who you would just watch and, you'd get caught staring at, like, because they're just that good?
Well, I played with Big E in Philly, and John LeClaire, Michael Lambert, Lucky Luke in LA, Brett Hall, Al McInnes and all those teams. But I think the most player that you'd be like, wow, I would gotta say Jaromir Jagr might be you just mind blowing. Some of the stuff he did, and Mario Lemieux, for example, too. I played against him, and he was so dominant, and so was Big E too. They were so dominant. All these three players were so dominant, yet they're all different. Big E could do it all. Like, he could win the game by himself and then kick the shit out of you at the same time. And Mario, you could be down 2-0. Mario could score 3 goals and have 2 assists. So was Jagr. So they were all, they're Hall of Famers. So I enjoy watching them, and but I was young and stupid back then, so I didn't really, my career was very short because I was young and stupid. Let me put it this way. So I didn't have enough chance to enjoy it and kind of take it all in.
What a check bias answer with Jagr. No, just giving him a hard time there. I mean, he's something else. What do you think of him still playing? Like, I mean, there was rumors he was going to go to Sparta, but I think they kind of shut that down. I don't know if they can afford to pay his Kladno salary.
Now he kind of, let me put it this way. He's 47 or 48 years old, maybe more.
Crazy.
And if he's still playing and he's still scoring this amount of goals, that shows the league is he mocking the game? Because if I'm playing again, there's no fucking way, because I know how good he is. So if you give him a room, he will dominate, because that's how strong he is and smart, and he still have the hands. So if I play against him, no way you're touching the puck. There's no way.
Well,
so,
hey, they let me in check too, so maybe anyone can play.
Well, but don't the coaches do their homework? They all know who he is. So how can he? When you look at the freaking score sheet after the game, and he's got 2 goals and 3 assists, how is that possible? He's 48 years old. Is that your team that bad, or you don't do the homework, or your system sucks? Or so I respect him as a player. Don't get me wrong, but I heard stories that he doesn't have money, and he's playing because he needs money. That's the rumor I heard. And yeah, that's so. If he he played 15 years in the hockey league, and he played 3 years in Russia, and you still need money to play when you're 48 years old. I understand you love the game, but that is enough is enough.
Jeez, yeah, I went to Russia for good money, I'm sure, in Omsk. Like, you don't leave the NHL as a captain if you are not getting some nice government funds there. But he owns, like, Kladno, too, so it's just weird. Like, it's like your owner, and you just play power play. Not a bad option, I guess.
He's such a good player. He's an icon back home. But, there's some stories about him as an owner. And, he plays for, say, a little contract, if any money at all. And so when the players want sign, I think as a player, I'm worth this and that. Well, his argument as a general manager or owner of the team is, well, you can't be making more than me because I'm better than you. And he's right. Don't get me wrong, he's right. But that's not right. That's just wrong. So, and that's the stories I heard. So I haven't been, I've been living in Canada for 26 years. So, I go home every other year. So I don't really talk about hockey. I don't really care about hockey anymore that much, to be honest with you.
What was it like finishing up back in Litvinov? Like, where you grew up? Like, you said you played when you were like 16 or 17 on the men's team a little bit, but then you get to go finish it up. You wear a C, like, you're playing in front of a home crowd. Like what was that like for you?
That was my plan from the get-go. Like, when I left, I said to myself, that's where I want to retire, and I want to play as the last game as a hockey player in my hometown. So I had the opportunity sign a contract when Robert Reichel was coaching the old Flame and Leaf. He was coaching. So I jump all over it, and I says, okay, well, I'm going to play these 2 years, and we'll see what's going to happen after that. So I was 35 years old, and my family was back home and here in Canada, and I says, you know what, enough is enough. And so I play my last year when I was 35 in my hometown, and I absolutely love it. But that was my best year, not point wise, but you know, I had the most fun and I enjoyed the game. But when it was enough, I call it a quit.
I got 2 more questions for you. I got to ask, where's the best city in Europe? Like, I don't know if you really played in your favorite, or like, where's the city that, you know, North Americans, if they get a chance to go, they have to go?
Well, if it's a history, then I recommend Prague. I recommend Prague to all my friends. And I haven't heard anything like, you know, a lot of guys went there for a world championship, and Prague is unbelievable. Prague is one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. History, the women, the beer, everything. And other than that, well, I love Stockholm. I love Helsinki. I played there for 5.5 years. I love Helsinki. Moscow is beautiful. All those big cities in Europe are beautiful in their own way. But I would recommend Prague to everybody.
Oh, Prague is something else. All right, we'll finish it off with this one, because I know this, you know, for all my buddies who might have had a cup of coffee overseas as well. What's the best Czech beer? Because, I mean, there's a lot of answers floating around.
Well, I recommend Pilsner Urquell. I think, to me, if you buy a can, which you can in North America, it's not the same as a draft beer back home. So Pilsner Urquell, it's the best Czech beer in my mind, hands down.
Hey, I appreciate that, Roman. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you jumping on, too. I appreciate all the stories and you taking the time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime.
What an interview there. Roman Vopak. Can't thank him enough for coming on the show, former Philadelphia Flyer. One thing we didn't mention, Oscar Lindblom back on the ice. You love to see that. Seen that was in hockey news. Didn't really get to touch on that too much today, but that was great. Big thanks, as always, Adam Ermintrout jumping on the show to start talking some hockey.